Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and today we're going to be doing Asgorath versus King Ghidorah. Is it close? Basically, what we're going to be doing during these kind of sections here is analyzing both characters and seeing if it's a fair fight or not. So without further ado, let's begin, starting off with Asgorath. Now, Asgorath is from the Dungeons and Dragons continuity and is actually one of the few most powerful beings in there. You see, Asgorath actually scales above, your average dragons within the verse here, and these dragons scale above the demon lords themselves here. Pretty much by ranking, he already has multiversal to outerversal level feats. And you even have him in lore being able to create a multiverse as well. Keep in mind, in Dungeons and Dragons cosmology, there are three planes: the negative plane, the positive plane, and the outer plane, right? So each of these planes house their own universes, multiverses, everything. They are all infinite in size, and some of them exist beyond time, space, and dimensions, with even these structures and these dimensions existing above the, other sets, or at least the other beings that can create their own dimensions beyond time and space. So you have dimensions that exist beyond dimensions that are beyond time and space. Yeah, I know, it's very interesting and very crazy here. So with Asgorath being able to create a multiverse, being able to create or at least, being above and actually being able to stomp out things like demon lords. The demon lords are somewhat comparable to the likes of the gods here, with the gods themselves actually being able to go toe to toe with the Leviathan, another being that Asgorath scales above. Now, the Leviathan is a being who can pretty much shake entire planes of existence, or at least even shake the world just by him dreaming. However, the Leviathan was also able to go toe-to-toe with gods like Zeus, Odin, Hades, etc., and was actually able to fight against these gods as well. And these gods can each create their own realms, are easily above the demon lords, like even the Demigorgon, who was again able to create his own dimension beyond time and space. Excuse me. You then have the gods themselves, like Zeus, Hades, Odin, etc., are all able to fight against the Titans. The Titans are conceptual beings made of the concepts of the Dungeons and Dragons continuity. So the Titans that they kill are basically made up of the concepts of pretty much everything: time, space, dimensions, life, death, happiness, joy, etc. All right? And you have these beings pretty much all existing in different tiers here, such as the deity tiers, the demons, and then there's the dragons and stuff like that. Then there are the higher beings, all right? Basically, the player and other beings of that kind of caliber here. So with that being said here, Asgorath at his lowest, and I think it's pretty simple here, you can get him to complex multiversal, like, pretty easily. You can even make arguments for hyperversal being his lowest, but with his higher ends being into the outerversal category, I think it's pretty simple where he stands here. He also possesses a plethora of hacks and abilities like reality warping, obviously, conceptual manipulation and creation. Now, let's move on to King Ghidorah, and we're using the IDW iteration of King Ghidorah for this one. So just to clarify, right, King Ghidorah actually has some pretty scary scaling when it comes to the IDW Godzilla verse here. You see, within the Godzilla verse itself, you have a lot of infinite universes and infinite timelines, and it's more consistently that Godzilla is Godzilla is one of the few beings that is capable of destroying this pantheon or destroying this cosmology. Now, we do know after Godzilla versus Power Rangers, and this is pretty important, that the Godzilla multiverse and the Power Rangers multiverse are pretty much intertwined, meaning that every Toho and Showa series and Millennium series of Godzilla, including the IDW series as well, are all pretty much intertwined in one cosmology or in one multiverse. This will also include the other Power Ranger multiverses or other universes, with Power Rangers basically having infinite universes and stuff like that here, with characters, or at least with franchises such as Dino Thunder, which I think I explained probably not too long ago here, that it is one of the most powerful franchises of all time here. And then you also have things like Mixed Force, Jungle Fury, Lost Galaxy, so on and so forth. All these Rangers, are ridiculously powerful. Even the likes of Lord Drakon would actually be no match for Ghidorah here, and the reason why is because not only is he able to basically drag Godzilla to hell itself, like being able to literally tear open an astral plane and just drag his opponents to it, right? Crazy. But he was also able to damage this same Godzilla, which could have destroyed hell if he wanted to. Then you have him pretty much, either going toe-to-toe or overpowering, and even on occasions matching this Godzilla either by himself or with help, even creating two forces that were described as being stuck between two titans. So, yeah, you have some pretty interesting scaling for King Ghidorah in the IDW verse. He has his regeneration. He still has his, his weather manipulation, his hurricane manipulation. And then the sheer fact that there's also Heisei Ghidorah in the IDW franchise as well. You could easily scale all those hacks and abilities back to IDW Ghidorah. Because, again, it was Heisei. I think it honestly just shows that it was Heisei Ghidorah that was pretty much used to fight against a Heisei or an IDW iteration of Heisei Godzilla. So you could use that. Then you have the manga where he's fighting against multiple kaiju at once, with Godzilla needing help in order to beat him and stuff like that. So you have a lot of scaling that you could easily work out with here. Now, with Power Rangers, you can easily get them to Universal, as the Morphin Grid was confirmed by one of the creators to be able to scale above time, space, and dimensions, which it is very possible you could say that the writer doesn't know what that really means, or pretty much the universal application means. But again, if he does say yes, I'm very inclined to believe that the Morphin Grid would scale above that, as it was the intention with the Morphin Grid pretty much scaling above pretty much anything in the Power Rangers verse here, and anyone being able to wield and use it should be able to destroy. There have even been beings like the Omega Rangers who have been able to fight beings that are literally powered up by the Morphin Grid, so it's pretty easily. Then you have the Hall of Heroes, or the Hall of Legends, whichever one you want to call it. I call it the Hall of Heroes and stuff like that, which also exists beyond time and space, and was used to fight against Lord Drakon, or at least used to power up Serpentera, who is a being that was actually able to harm Lord Drakon, albeit he still got washed pretty easily. So again, I think it's pretty simple, with King Ghidorah's low end being in the complex multiversal to hyperversal department, and then you have, obviously Universal King Ghidorah. You could probably even argue high Universal, but again, yeah, we're just going to leave it at Universal for right now, so we don't have to get into that whole headache, right? Now, let's go over if this is fair or not, right? The biggest crux of this video is pretty much deciding whether or not this matchup is fair. Now, King Ghidorah does have his advantages over Asgorath, as much as Asgorath has his advantages here. In terms of speed, yes, they're both easily faster than light here, and I would have to say Asgorath is faster. It's pretty consistent in Dungeons and Dragons that all these beings pretty much scale to faster than light to immeasurable levels of speed here, as they're reacting to not only the online characters pretty easily, but being able to pretty much react to each other, and even beings that can, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, fly through like voids and stuff, or at least Blitz characters that literally created the void itself here and are able to move through a timeless void. So yeah, you pretty much have that decent enough scaling for Dungeons and Dragons. You can easily get characters to faster than light here. Then you also have the crossfire scaling with Godzilla, and just scaling him above the Morphin Grid, above the Power Rangers multiverse and stuff like that, scaling above the Megazord. And that just kind of goes right back to King Ghidorah, as he was pretty much thrashing Godzilla throughout the entirety of that iteration until he and the Megazord just decided to team up, combine into the Dino or the Dragon Megazord or whatever, and proceeded to actually tag team Ghidorah until he was done here. So you might say King Ghidorah has the advantage, but you also have to remember one little thing here. Dungeons and Dragons, you can also cross scale with the Transformers franchise, and this has actually been confirmed and showed in. Shoot, I probably got to find the comic, but I do have the I do have the scan on here. You guys will probably see in just like a couple minutes here, and Dungeons and Dragons and Transformers have always been an intertwined multiverse, or an omniverse, if you will. So you could easily scale Asgorath to being able to destroy one of these multiverses, which have a 17 to 22 spatial dimension cosmology, or spatial brand cosmology, for a simple multiverse here, which is actually in the more high hyperversal areas, if not flat out just about to break it. So being able to destroy that pretty easily, meaning you're destroying either a hyperversal multiverse, or again, you probably could say it's like an outerversal multiverse, again, depending on how you want to take and interpret it. But again, I would definitely say it's a high hyperversal multiverse, all right, for the brand cosmology of a simple Transformers multiverse. And then going right back to Dungeons and Dragons as them being also part of this greater multiverse, or this megaverse dash omniverse, they also would have that 17 to 22 spatial brand cosmology, as again they're simply just a part of a greater omniverse. All right, then you have Asgorath being able to be one of the few beings in the cosmology to actually be able to create a multiverse. And you could easily say that's in the same categories and the same levels as things like the Primes, with the Primes being able to create their own universes, and if not multiverses, if they wanted to. So overall, do I think this fight is fair? And if I really had to wager, who do I think would win more often than not? Now, do I think this fight is fair? Yes it is. I do think Asgorath does take it though, because he has a lot more hexes, and I think he's just, I guess you could say he's possibly a lot higher in the cosmology where he's in than with Ghidorah, meaning he would basically be in a different tier bracket altogether if he entered Godzilla. Kind of surprised we haven't seen a Dungeons and Dragons Godzilla crossover anytime soon here, but it is what it is. But hey, that's going to be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope y'all have a blessed day. Peace.